Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. I remember I messed up last week when I had brother Joshua James in the room from Grow Rich Apparel. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Java Cafe. It is Testimony Tuesday, and my testimony is I am going to attempt not to crash out a little bit. And what I mean by that is, for those of you that follow the platform, are familiar with it, and even before the platform, one space that I know that I've been consistent with community in for the past couple of decades is around the space of violence prevention. And for those of you that have not heard, unfortunately, last night there was an incident in Mattapan where over 30 rounds or shots were let off near a field where there were young people in a Pop Warner football practice. That's an issue on a few levels. And so we're going to talk about it today and name the issue, yes, but reiterate again the ideas and suggestions that have come from community based on our pain, our trauma, and also our work towards healing and preventing the cyclical impact of violence, especially in this time where things are going to be very interesting, financially. We're getting to the point where young people are going back to school. We know that traditionally increases, unfortunately, issues of violence. And so we're going to have that conversation today. And also, as I've talked about and been a champion of, the fact that there are changes going on at the city level. Dr. Isaac Yablo, through advocacy of the Black Men and Boys Commission, me in that role, and as a 20-year squeaky wheel, we finally got the oil of having violence prevention work streamlined and also filled with over $6 million of resources. Now, let's keep it 100. It's not just youth and gun gang retaliatory type, violence prevention. He now oversees what I believe is a bureau, which is inclusive of, child abuse prevention, elderly, gender-based violence, domestic violence. And so that's real. But while those changes are going on, some of the work around trauma response, violence prevention, SSYI, those are housed within the Health Commission. And so with now Dr. Yablo going over there, there are changes going on in infrastructure. And it is just imperative that the voices on a couple of levels, there are a couple of imperatives. One is the voices of those impacted, those who have worked in this space for many years, those who, yeah, it is imperative that the voices of community stay in the forefront of this reforming to some extent in this restructuring and infrastructure. The other piece about that is, I don't know what's wrong with my voice this morning. I almost want to say the devil because, you know, I'm a little hot Java this morning. And for those of you that are new to the platform and don't know, sometimes when there are issues of violence, I get triggered. And when I'm triggered, I either serve or attack. And for the past few years, I have been attempting to attack service when I am triggered. And so I am, yeah. So one issue when it comes up, when issues like yesterday, if you're just joining, we're referring to an incident that happened in Mattapan, where there were 30 shots let off near football practice. Typically, in response, and also in some cases, with respect and homage to our brother Bum, Leroy Peoples, there was an ability to navigate potentially what's next, where did it come from, who's beefing, who shot off. A lot of that work used to be done in the Street Worker, and its latest iteration before it was disbanded was the SOAR program. There is an element of some of the work that the SOAR program did that I and some others that move in this space is not aware of it being absorbed fully. You remember some of the street workers went to Boston Public Schools, which puts a limit from K through 12 when it comes around violence. Some of this work is over at, again, the Health Commission with SSYI, and I think, some other programming there. My point is that while this restructuring is going on around prevention, intervention, and in the worst case scenarios, response to violence, where is that piece of the prevention of the work that the street workers used to do? It's public, it's in the media that there were a lot of opinions about the street workers and things like that. There's internal stuff. There's a case against leadership, former leadership, and all that other stuff. However, again, going back to people like Brother Bum and others, you can't negate that there was, and again, I got over a decade of at least Brother in that space of intel and about a decade, advocacy about 20 years. That element, I and others am not aware. And so it is imperative that we know that the voices of the community from that advisory council that was convened some months ago, Reverend Clementina reached out and shared some stuff about that. How are they still being engaged? What were the recommendations that they made? Let's run it back. So we need to know. I am sure if we lined up their recommendations and what the community said way back in 2018, that those are the components that we need to know that are going to be paramount in this redesign. And I'll just say I have made attempts to make inquiries about what I just said. Side note there, some of you saw on social media that my tenure as a appointed commissioner by Mayor Michelle Wu in 2022, that tenure has expired. I'm not going to get into some of the semantics and stuff. I will just say this because of the season we're in and whatnot. Anyway, one thing that as a commissioner I was able to do is make a formal inquiry. James Hill's resident shouldn't be an issue. I'm a resident, 20 years in this space. But that piece of the commissioner removes that commissioner, James Hills, and y'all know, I will shoot off an email. I used to shoot off an email and a text. Not really doing too much of that anymore. We have a platform. And though different, when I was a little more vocal and animated and triggered, my practice I wouldn't say anything, post anything or whatever, or calling out until I had exhausted every means of attempting to communicate. Text, email, phone call. I'm tired. So, if need be, we call in here to ensure by any means necessary. I listen. Get mad, call, finally, whatever. My ultimate goal is to ensure that for over 2 decades, my own trauma and experience, for those of you that, and a lot of people don't know, and y'all are new in this space of Java with Jimmy. Before there was ever a Java, there was James. Anyway. And one other thing that I used to be able to employ is if we need to start making phone calls and sending emails to ensure that from top to bottom, and I'm going to check in with the mayor about this tomorrow. You know, stats and numbers are real. And as she often says, that doesn't negate the fact that families, coaches, people were impacted by what happened yesterday. And if you're just joining, yes, I'm a little bit triggered. And what I mean by triggered is, and I've been telling people this privately, there are advantages to my intersectionality of being from community, working in City Hall, and just being out here for years. The disadvantage to that is that when you know a few things, in no particular order, but I'm going to say this. Any leader of any entity, agency, municipality, government typically will not know about an impactful issue by the time it gets to the top. It's almost too late. It's in crisis mode now. Hey, we just need to make you aware, da 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 da. Wait, and that leader has questions. Well, how and why didn't, and but still, damage is done. It's been too late. My point there is, when people have a responsibility to oversee and they're entrusted, generally speaking, you got to do what you're supposed to do and move other stuff aside whether you appreciate, whether you don't understand, when you understand that there is a proven motive of community. Let me go back. I got off for a minute. There are people in this city who have lost, healing, and have spent their careers off their careers, meaning after 5, not getting paid for some things, that have been heavily invested in a lot of spaces where that institutional knowledge, to my other point that I'll get back to, is that disadvantage sometimes in having this intersectionality, and knowing what I just said a few seconds ago on my side note, and being 53 years old anyway. We're going to check in um, with the mayor about this tomorrow around what is being done to ensure that that component that the street workers SOAR used to do, um, because they would have been activated. Some of now let me be clear. And the thing is, and two things, and I'll move on from here and go to the comments because I see a lot. And I've said this before, even as a commissioner. Just because I don't know does not mean it's not being done. Fair. And I'll surmise it and end with this. And it was a thought, so I'll share this too. I know there's unfortunately there's a component here that I'm quote unquote, well, never mind. While this infrastructure is being redesigned, the key things that community have pointed out that need to be improved to keep us in a status of one of the safest cities. To also another point, with what's going on nationally, the economic impact and whatnot. I won't say we got to be ready, but when there's a hard economy, the holidays, all that other stuff that comes up, things get interesting. And so we just need to know that the community voices are going to stay paramount in this redesign. So that's a little bit of my testimony this morning. We're going to go to some of the comments, some of them, and I'm going to do my best to not be reactionary. And just respond. One good thing is we'll start off by saying good morning to some folks that's in the room. Mama Java, Ma, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Brother Milton, somebody that's moving in this space of proactiveness and bringing together community. We will find a way to ensure that what they did this weekend is, and I can just tell you right now, what they did in bringing together the Cape Verdean community in those 3 different block parties, a lot of the respect that I've seen on social media, a lot of the celebration, a lot of the activities, the Kachupa, the friendly competition between the 3 areas was just dope. And so shout out to Brother Milton and Brother Mario and others that were a part of that. Milagro, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. Pastor Marion, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Donna, good morning. I thought about you just when I was thinking of this thing. I almost posted "We need to know" and just left it there. But good morning to you, Brother Carlton, somebody that moves in this space and tries to move with him Inc. Good to see you, man. Yo, I've got a couple of folks that was like, yo, somebody said that they told you that you could have been So I saw a comment on Instagram. Let me finish this thought with Carlton, and I'll go over to Instagram in a minute. A couple of them. They were saying that you got a lot of potential to have your own show and whatnot. So I definitely believe that. Pastor Sharon Cornelius. Good morning. Good to see you in the room. Also, you and Ma have went semi-viral on that video. They talking about they was up on the roof deck. Time for y'all to go home. Also, let me stop. Tara, good morning. Reverend, you know what? I never refer to you in your ordinary role. Good to see you in the room, Elder Reverend, this morning. As someone that knows this space well, I don't think I'm that far off. Pastor Naraki, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. Uh-oh. My auntie, good friend, just so many Clifford Reed, Bobby Joe Lester, Chris Womack, Doug Hobbs, man, listen, they saved our lives. That was a component that it was a different type of engagement and interaction with those that moved in that space. And, and I'll get into some things in a minute. So I said I was going to go to Instagram. Let me stay focused and do that. Ari, good morning over on Instagram. Good to see you in the room. Brother DL, good to see you in the room this morning. Big Ma's Kitchen, Lordania. Good morning. MTJ30 and Keith, good morning. Good to see you in the room. So Keith made a comment and said exactly that's why there were street teams and workers so that things could be handled before it got to the top. So Keith, when I talked about to the top, I'm talking about, overseeing organizations, entities, departments, businesses, and all of that. I like how you frame that, brother. The top is the point where policy and legislation takes over, but today intervention is done with boots on the ground. And that is some of what I'm saying, that element where just some of us are not aware that, or if it's there. Nikki said, good morning to you, Nikki. This is scary. My son was on one of these practice fields, very scary. And so to that point, and I'll go back to Facebook comments in a minute. To that point, my hope is that at minimum, and unfortunately, even with the blue and white sometimes that have been posted up post events, there's a population that just does not care. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Hopefully on some of the practice fields, with the balance of availability, that we can get some blue and whites, and not just even blue and whites. SWAT, the gang unit wants to be engaged. We've seen them often engaging. Get out and walk around the fields and just be a presence. So that's something that, I hope that BPD would do. To my point there, that even if there was a presence, there unfortunately, and I have to tread lightly here, please hear my heart and experience. Not an expert, but certainly not a novice. When I started in DSS, which is now DCF, when I became an intensive adolescent service provider, contracted to provide services to adolescents that were involved with probate court, family court, truant, a bunch of different things. I went into my supervisor's office and we were talking, and it was a supervision time, and I was giving him some feedback about clients. And this dude said, and I'll imitate his voice, James, you're not going to be able to save every youth. There are some that we're not going to win them. I sat there through the rest of the supervision, blinking. I was light skinned. I'm light skinned. So y'all know I'll turn just as red as this stuff I got on. I went back to my desk and bald. What does he mean? I can't save every youth. And I respected this dude, so I, knew he was knowledgeable. What does he mean? And unfortunately, there is, for various reasons, from unaddressed clinical issues that where maybe some psychopharmacology could help with decision making, to trauma, to, at worst, the smallest population. My heart wants to believe that no matter what, hear me here, 2-parent home, every resource and service garnered and provided, and for whatever reason, they're just about that life. To my point about posted up blue and whites and SWAT and the gang unit hitting all these Pop Warner fields, how do we utilize those that got? So let me name some names: Donnell Singleton, Joey Bennett, Milton DeSoto, I want to say it right, Mario, others. Brother Donald's, at the health commission. So, but brother Randy, how do we utilize these brothers and a next generation down? To get some brothers together. And this has been a sentiment that I've heard, and I told someone this morning. In the last 4 years, I've heard this sentiment 3 times, and in the last week, I've heard it twice. There's that population. There's conversation about how that particular population is supported. So we'll get back to the Facebook comments and start off with Nika. Well, actually, I read her first comment. Nisi is in the room as well. Good morning to you. Sister Michelle, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Ernest Hughes, not enough authenticity out here. He still does some work as well. His son does some work, I think, with coaching and whatnot. So that's even a testament and legacy to the impact of what he's done. Opal, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Sandy, good morning. Good to Sandy. We're talking next month because there's an element to what you want to do that has an impact here. Also, Nika saying they haven't done anything to replace that level of support. I want to know why she, as the mayor, don't get out here and walk through the neighborhoods. So no cap here, Nika. One, just she's not Menino, and I think that we coming up with that 20-year reign, we're just used to some things. Two, she's and when I say this, being the mayor, there's a lot going on. I actually, Dad, there was a press conference this morning at 9:30 because, not to get off track, Department of Justice is they're trying to get to my point of what I said about economics. The Department of Justice wants to tear down our Trust Act and sanctuary city status, and if we don't, there's millions of dollars that may be pulled from the city budget. Anyway, to my point, there will be a way that I inquire your point tomorrow about, and Nika, to my point about what we don't know. And again, because of my intersections and just knowing, I'm aware that there's some stuff that has been done that is not public. I'm talking directly from the mayor. And so, though not visible and in, the paper and whatnot, I know that there's been some stuff done privately, with families and resources and whatnot. And to fairness, some of the Office of Violence Prevention has done some stuff as well. So, but make sure I got everything in that comment here and walk through the neighborhoods. But Nika, that's to my point, and I just thought about this reading your comment. That's good optics, and we need the optics. But what's being done when she leaves, or any mayor, or even what I'm talking about, a presence on the football? It's those optics. Oh God, y'all taking me back. Some years ago, I was talking to Congresswoman Presley at that time, City Councilor Presley, and we talked about this thing of action optics. They have some impact. But after the awareness and the walkthrough and the shaking of hands and turning to, and this is another point, the mayor, any entity, a state, even some of these state reps and state senators and whatnot, constituencies are too large for them to remember everything, everybody. So usually if you go out, and Nika, you probably have seen some electeds and whatnot, you meet them and they say, hey, such and such, get their information and follow up. If the follow-up is not done, that the leader typically doesn't find out until when the person who was supposed to be followed up is frustrated, and now they're either public or they're walking back up on the leader again and was like, yo, you never got in touch with me, when it was really the person that was supposed to do the follow-up. Don't forget that this is not cat. This is an education. This is an awareness platform. And again, not an expert, but certainly not a novice. And my exposure in moving it, I can tell you there are some times where Mayor Menino sent me. There was one time he sent me to get something as small as hot dogs for a couple of seniors at an event. I went to get the hot dogs and I saw the line. This is not a lie. It was not a lie. What I said was, and I did hear this, I heard someone back behind the grill say something about they ran out of hot dogs. As soon as I heard that, I ran back and told the mayor and the seniors, hey, they just ran out. Now, did someone go to the cooler and get new hot dogs? My point there is, I was saying that I know that there was some things that I didn't follow up on when I was in the mayor's office. There's some things I don't follow up on now just because, and in fairness, capacity sometimes. So anyway, not to get too far off. But after the action optics, even if it was scheduled in the 23, what Brother Dart talked about every day, if the mayor could get out in all 23 neighborhoods every month and do after the walks, what and who is ensuring that what she says and believes is being done is being done. And that ain't just to this administration. All the way back to my first familiarity, to the Menino, to Janey, to Menino, to Walsh, to Janey, and now Wu. So good morning, Nisi, as well. Nika said, I'm here, testimony Tuesday. I finished my summer semester of grad school, approved to go into my practicum in September. So shout out to this good sister that's going in the space of it's some little bit clinical. I expect someday y'all, Mika's going to be posting. My testimony Tuesday is I finished my first iteration of my dissertation to be Dr. Nika Shalon Winston. Sister Debbie, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Kelly said, Shalon Winston 100. She was a community cookout in Charlestown. She came with her baby and just stood in the sidewalk, and people walking up to her like through the community say, how did people leave that baby at home? And shake my head. I'm sure I didn't walk to her to say, oh, Kelly, behave. But again, that the action optics. Now, let's also say if the mayor wasn't out there doing that, to Nika's point, where's she at? And that, where this is generally with all elected officials, campaign season, all of that. Keith done jumped on Facebook. You're not going to get many of this generation of BPD to get out there, squad cars, because they are on the force for the check and pension, not the intervention and protection. So, Keith, if I could challenge that a little bit based on the concept of community policing, based on my visit to the academy, based on pictures I've seen of other classes that graduated since, and also this push from some in the community to get those that want to go into law enforcement on the force from community. And so there may be some not there may be some that are not getting out the cars, but I would hope and believe that they're from that community policing point of those that grew up around here and know what's needed, and unfortunately had their own experience, are more engaging in a community manner. Modern jumped on YouTube as well. Thank you. Okay, I'm all caught up with the comments. Okay, we're good. All right, so thank you all for that engagement right there. Help kind of pull me in a little bit, and I'm not particularly fully adding, but what I'm doing is, we need to talk so we can make the community aware. Yeah. So let's flip into Testimony Tuesday. Pam, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Buenos dias. If you know, audience, you know why I took a pause when I seen Pam's wonderful greeting. That actually a year ago, we were supposed to have lunch somewhere between where she was and me on South Beach. And as you all know, this year, I have not made it to Miami. So that may be a little bit of contributor to why I was so triggered yesterday. Anyway, Pam, safe travels. Ari, good morning to you from Mama Java. Good to see you in the room this morning. Testimony Tuesday. Let me see what Kelly said here. 100, definitely agree. Where is she at? Laugh out loud. I'll be nice, but behave. There's a part of me that was considering, like, how do we, and again, just to go back and reiterate, two things about this interview with the mayor. January, she flipped to a candidate, and I always, after we got out of more of a COVID mode, when I used to post that the mayor was coming on, oh boy, my inbox, DMs, some texts, used to be phone calls, but I've shut that down. They still text or whatever. I'll get and full transparency, what I see in mainstream media, I'll get a good cadence from social media, public, behind the scenes, and when people are reaching out, hey, I need you to ask the mayor, and how come you don't ask the mayor? And you need to and should. I kind of put all that together with about 10% of my own stuff, which a good 85% of that is aligned with what I'm seeing. And so, to my point of what Nika's saying, and also about this up, and the other thing is to my point earlier about leadership, there's some stuff that let me keep it real. The man could come on here tomorrow and I'd be like, Mayor, and I'm not a commissioner no more. And she may look on the screen and be like, hey, what? Now, granted, she appointed me, but anyway. Testimonies. Thank you, Brother Keith. My testimony is Keith, some of this stuff is one of the reasons that we have not chatted yet. This summer, I've just had to fall back a little bit. And so right after my birthday, which is less than 30 days away, we'll be good. Keith is saying, my testimony this Tuesday is I completed my Emerson application for grad school. I'll be reapplying to Suffolk Law School the beginning of September. Keep me lifted. So Keith, testimony. Nika just said that she just finished her first summer for grad school. You applied and you're getting ready to go. Esquire. Auntie's in the room. Ma, you trying to rescue me? Ma said, where's Alexa? Now, Alexa would have 3 minutes, but Alexa got turned down before the show started. So, Brother Eric, I hope you just heard my explanation, Brother Keith. I know I owe you some follow-up too. Auntie Java. Auntie Java is lovingly shady. She keeps it real. So I'm about to see what she just posted. God bless Sunday morning citizens of Java Land, and all my special peeps. Every day I wake in my right mind and have movement of my body. I'm so grateful to God for his undeserved grace and mercy. Whoop, whoop. All right. So I thought she was commenting on my commentary. So that's a testimony. That's different, Auntie. Oh, I'm sorry, Nika. This is her second summer of grad school. So you got like a year or two left, and you'll have that master's, and then go for your LICSW, and then doctorate. I love it. God opens doors and also shuts them, bro. Yes, sir. I know. This is your last year, Nick. So y'all got to understand, I'm excited about this because I remember when Nika was a freshman trying to figure out how to put Excel grids in PowerPoint, papers and tech. And I think the first year or two, I was supportive as crap. By the second year, I was like, Nika, you got to learn. And Nika did, and she's been doing, and that was undergrad. So Nika, we're proud of you for what you're doing on this Testimony Tuesday. Auntie Java said, oh, my son is engaged. So Auntie, I heard, and I said, Auntie was aware of what all the stuff that was going on Saturday, and I may have missed it somewhere in a email or whatever. But congrats to Ace and his fiance. They are getting married in 27. They just celebrated their engagement, I believe, this past weekend. Alexa has been muted. Yep. Whatever, Milagro. Auntie said that she was being nice. Yes, ma'am. I'm behaving. Keith said also my wife got into Regis for her master's, and there is nothing like educated people, period. And then educated black folks. We just need a little bit more of the white folks to get educated and come up out of this thing of scared of diversity, scared of y'all. Jesus Lord, I'm not getting out there today. It is 10:44. We're going to get ready to wrap up. Time goes by quick sometimes. But just to clarify what I said in the beginning before I get phone calls or whatever. Yeah. My hope is that there is engagement as well as presence from BPD. They can partner with SSYI, folks in Dr. Yablo's space. I'm sure that the testament to the trauma response team a few weeks ago, Sister Dina had posted about a shooting. Then a day or 2 days later, she posted the pamphlet, which is interesting because in 2016 or 17, me, Carlos, Darren, another sister, we contributed with the health commission, the police department to that trauma card that goes out now. We were a part of that design. It took a whole lot of work and meetings and emails. So my point is there that credit to some things that are being done, that she got that pamphlet and information about, where to call. Presumption is that they're going to go out around Mattapan and through, I don't know who the coach is, but I presume that there's going to be some coordination. In fairness, I heard that Dr. Yablo reached out to one of the folks that was on the field. That just always needs to be consistent. And as much as possible, prevent it. But when there needs to be intervention, it be done strategically, tactfully, with all facets of things like retaliation, trauma response, and wraparound services to the families of those that are involved. I'm sorry. I sounded like this generation of be making 2-syllable words out of one word. Like stop. This generation says stop. What the hell? I'm getting off of here. Listen, folks, have a great day. Tomorrow morning, we will start off with Mayor Wu at 9 a.m. And then at 9:30 p.m. through also coming back again through our partnership and collaboration with the Action for Boston Community Development, mentioning their name, and maybe I need to bring them and some others on if they're, well, I don't want to put them in a situation. But when I mentioned, so little bit of a deeper dive into what I mentioned earlier about the impact of what the Department of Justice is attempting to do to the city of Boston. Just community development block grants. The community development block grants come out of the Department of, I believe when I was there, it was the Administration for Children and Families that was under the Department of Health and Human Services. And those are given to entities like ABCD. If you hear the term CDC, Community Development Corporation, Neighborhood Development Corporation, a lot of them get their support either directly from federal or some initiatives maybe with the state, but a lot of them may get some support if the city applies in collaboration and they, figure it out and fund, support the work, all that other stuff. My point is that we've seen this administration literally attempt to cut funding from budget, overall budget, Medicaid, Social Security, all that other stuff, roll back rights of people. Not going to get into that. There is a economic impact that if things proceed with this administration, that may be felt. And when that happens, it entities like ABCD can be impacted. So this stuff that I'm talking about, the holidays here and there, please be clear. I'm not out here trying to preach any doom and gloom. What I'm trying to do is make sure that we have in our mind things that we can do to support ourselves economically and to proactively offset any impact on our mental health leading up to the holidays. And if federal funds, things like basic city services can be impacted. This is why there was a fight to keep this AAA credit score that the city has, because I said it before and I'll say it again. Somewhere before this man gets out of office, Governor Healy and Michelle Wu are probably going to have to tap into state, the rainy day fund, the city. I don't know what the name of the cities is, but that credit rating with a municipality, you can, draw down and do some stuff if you need to keep us afloat if there are millions of dollars of cuts. So Tanika and Kelly's point, that is something. Now, I just had this thought. The other thing is, if you look on this, I don't know if y'all follow her, but that woman, there's one page she's taken on a Menino. She's been a little bit everywhere too. So anyway, when I thought about ABCD, getting back to my announcement, in my partnership with them, they're coming in tomorrow to talk about cardiovascular risk awareness for women. And so we have Dr. Sophie Alliday Richer, who's coming in from the Martha Elliott Health Center to talk with us as specifically women about the risk awareness for cardiovascular disease. That'll be at 9:30 a.m. and the mayor will be with us at 9 a.m. So please plan to join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Somebody in the comments type 9 a.m. Tomorrow morning is 9 a.m. All right. Here of late when the mayor comes on, it's been 9. They switched it this month. But okay, folks. Misha, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Milagro says that this generation has a lot of things that makes me wonder about it. That conversation with Josh the other day had, he revealed a lot around, the impact of social media. Out of that conversation, when he was leaving, we talked about, teens, these maybe of the grandkids of the big teen parent spike a couple of generations ago when I was a youth worker. And then did teen parents have children, and then did their children who were teenagers or at the age of being a teen, did they have children? And now they're 14, 17, 18, post-COVID, that so we're going to be a little more intentional starting back in September about these mental health Mondays with some clinicians that move in this space. So all right, I'm going to get off of here. And I think that is it. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you all so much. To Keith's point, this generation is a direct reflection of the influence of the generation. Keith, I don't know when you typed that, but that's exactly what I was saying. Eric said something too. I'm excited. My new book will be released this week. That's the thing that I wanted to follow with. Anyway, Eric, I'm sorry. Put the link in the comments, Eric, if it's preferably if it's directly from you, Amazon and these distributors. If there's a link that you shipping out or got direct shipping where you're getting most of the support back to you, put that link up. But if you only have the Amazon, that's fine. All right, folks. For the second time, that's it. We're going to get ready to go. Auntie said, thank you for the intention on Mental Health Monday. Absolutely. People with no self-emotion regulation had been. Keith, did you watch when Marv was on yesterday? I can't wait to get you on. That, what you call it? That's going to be a show. Nika said, we'll need a date to bring the moms group on, preferably. Nika, do you see how triggered and I thought Nika said we need to get a date to bring the moms group on, preferably a Friday. Now, moms group. So Nika, there's two things. I want you and Cuddy's mom to come on first. We just talked about this yesterday. I talked to him yesterday. Got to go out. I talked to him about this yesterday. So we'll get that date scheduled, and then but yeah, I had to laugh at the fact because I thought you said we'll need to get see. All right, I'm going to get ready to go. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Mayor Wu, and then also at 9:30 a.m. with our good Dr. Sophie in partnership with the ABCD Health Services. All right, folks. Thank you so much for being. There's Dina. See, y'all got your own little stuff going on. See you later, Misha. And again, tomorrow, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Peace, everybody. Have a great